Muirfield, 1972, and for 2 days Tony Jacklin had withstood the wizardry of Lee Trevino's short game. After 54 holes, he was just one behind the defending champion. Although 6 shots off the lead, Jack Nicklaus, who had already won the Masters and US Open, made his move on the final day. After 10 holes, Nicklaus had snatched a share of the lead. But first Trevino and then Jacklin made eagles at the 9th. At the 15th and here on the 16th, crucial missed putts ended Jack Nicklaus's brave challenge, and the championship had developed into a duel. All square playing the par 5 17th, it was advantage Jacklin. The Englishman was safely on in 3. Trevino was lying badly through the green in 4. But then he produced one of the championship's most memorable shots. That is an outrageous and unexpected par 5. Jacklin, however, still had this putt to take the lead. Not to be. And there was worse to follow for the Englishman. 3 putts. Trevino led by 1, playing the last. Jacklin bunkered his second, and Trevino went on to complete a successful defence with the Open Championship. In 1971, Royal Birkdale was the venue of the 100th Open, and in-form Lee Trevino strides onto centre stage. He just won the US and Canadian Opens, and after 54 holes at Southport, he held a 1-shot lead over Tony Jacklin and Liu Liang Huan of Formosa. Mr. Liu, a relative newcomer to British golf, had quickly become a firm favourite of the British fans. Paired with Trevino on the final day, the Formosan with the trademark pork pie hat was always trailing. But after the American ran up a 7 at 17, there was just 1 shot between them. At 18, a par 5, Mr. Liu found the rough off the tee. He elected to use a wooden club for his second, a decision he regretted. He pulled it into the crowd.
Liu, in fact, has hit an unfortunate lady spectator right in the temple and knocked her completely out.
Unnerving at the best of times, even more so when you're in contention for a major title. Thankfully, the lady suffered no long-term damage, and Mr. Liu went on to make an eventful birdie. But so too did Trevino, to win his first Open by a shot.
St Andrews and keen international competition for the Open. From Australia, Peter Thomson. He's been the title holder for the last 3 years and was an obvious favourite. He was in fine form too. But at this stage, the lead was held by Bobby Locke, the 40-year-old South African. He had also won the Open 3 times, and it was one of his ambitions to do it again on the hallowed turf of St Andrews. In the event, he went round in 2.79. A fascinating display of unruffled concentration right up to the last putt. And so he beat Thomson, equalled his own championship record, and won the most coveted of all golfing trophies for the 4th time.
And as for crazy pastimes, no one in the ordinary way would have thought of playing golf with such a wind blowing at Sandwich. But the Open Golf Championship had to be finished. Competitors were nearly blown over. Reggie Whitcomb, fighting the conditions, approached the title steadily. Henry Cotton drove his way through the weather in a gallant effort to retain his championship, followed by his usual large gallery. His round of 74 was the best of the day and perhaps of his career, with every putt a great relief when sunk. James Adams proved that a chip shot could be played perfectly, even in a howling gale. He had a tremendous fight with Whitcomb. They were playing together, and only 2 figures separated them at the end. Adams 297 and Whitcomb 295, the highest winning aggregate since 1931. Runner-up congratulates winner, and all that remains is the handing over of the trophy. Well earned after such an exciting, if unpleasant, day's golf. A few words from Reggie.
The crowning achievement of my career. I am more pleased that at last the name of Whitcomb will be on the cup.
A tribute from the ex-holder of the title, Henry Cotton.
And although I regret saying goodbye to this for now, perhaps one of these days I'll have it again.
Bobby Locke, holder of the Open Golf title, was always a likely winner this year, and the gallery of 10,000 at Troon knew it. But it turned out to be a close thing, for after 3 rounds he was tying with Rees and Vincenzo at 211. Vincenzo, Argentine, putting on the 18th, finished with an aggregate of 281, a fine performance. Di Rees, South Herts, returned a final score of 282, tying with Daly, and here's Locke on the 18th. Not quite, but one more stroke should do it with care. Well, there it is, in the bag. He wins the title again with a final score of 279, a record. A great feat to win the title 2 years running. Few golfers have done it. Now the final scene. Cup and check go to Bobby Locke of South Africa.
But I feel I'm a Britisher. I've enjoyed myself playing golf in most parts of the world. I was a naughty boy once, but I'm a good boy now.
With only 7 strokes separating the 31 qualifiers for the final round of the Open Golf Championship on the Royal St George's course in Sandwich, the crowds massed to see what appeared to be developing into a battle between Harry Bradshaw and Bobby Locke. Bradshaw, first away in the final round, was followed by a keen crowd, anxious to see the Irishman beat off the South African challenger. By the time he reached the 18th green, Bradshaw has a putt for 69 and maybe the title. But the ball finishes just short. His partner Smithers commiserates. Bradshaw's in the clubhouse on 283. An even bigger crowd had gathered to see the South African start his final round. He had to fight hard for his figures, knowing what Bradshaw had already done. On the 18th, Bobby Locke steadies himself for his final effort. A 69 would give him 282 and the title by a shot. But like Bradshaw, he misses. He too is in the clubhouse on 283. So the next day, the 2 men continue the title battle over 36 holes. And with a score of 135, 12 better than Bradshaw, it's Bobby Locke who wins his first Open.